Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. I have here Lori. She is a dynamic speaker, author, and coach with a rich background in chemical engineering, where she spent over 30 years in the refining, chemicals, and gas and oil industries. Recently, she transformed a major career setback, being fired just before her 60th birthday, into a springboard for personal and professional reinvention. Lori authored the Reinvention Mindset and founded Reimagine U Strategies, aiming to empower others to overcome life's roadblocks and pursue fulfillment. Additionally, she operates Schooley Mitchell of Humble, a business that helps organizations reduce expenses through a unique, risk-free model. Lori's energy extends into her personal life through her love of sports, adventure, and the outdoors. Don't you just love the outdoors, Lori? I mean, I just love it.
Yes.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Well, thank you so much for being on my show today. I'm excited to talk to you. And did you just recently do a TEDx talk?
I did do a TEDx. It's not out yet on the TEDx YouTube page. They say it takes about 6 to 8 weeks, but I did one beginning of May. So yeah, it was really exciting. It was one of the best experiences, just the whole, the TEDx, the whole process was really great. So I was excited about that.
That's amazing. I'll definitely look forward to watching that one and sharing that one for you. But Lori, let's talk about your journey and your story. Can you just go ahead and take us back to the moment where you were let go from your longstanding position, and what were your initial feelings driving back from that 4-hour meeting?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was I was in a bit of shock. It was disbelief. Like not only could was surprised I was fired, because I was on a call that morning with a huge customer that I had brought in, and my boss doing the project. So it was shock, and then it was anger and embarrassment, and then a little bit of sick to my stomach, like, oh my God, I think I'm going to throw up. And then fear kicked in, and I was just, at that point it was like, oh my God, like I got fired today and I don't have any salary anymore. How am I going to pay bills? How am I going to get by? So those were the first, thoughts that went through my head, and that lasted for probably half my drive home. And then somewhere in that drive, the thought popped into my head that I didn't have to go to work tomorrow. And it was kind of like someone had took a huge weight off my shoulder. It was like, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. And then it was like, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. And at that point, I realized that I really didn't like that job anymore. I wasn't happy. I wasn't living the life I wanted to live. And I didn't want to let anyone else be in charge of, my career, my happiness, or my joy anymore. I felt like it was a freeing thought. That So the rest, the next part of the drive home, I was actually really happy, kind of, and looking forward to what I was going to do next.
Yeah, that is exciting. I mean, that's like a blessing in disguise. Here you're in a job and you're just used to the routine, you're seeing your coworkers constantly and then the bosses. And I don't know, was something going on at work that you're like, I'm not feeling aligned anymore, that this doesn't feel right?
It was basically a boss had changed. So for 10 years, I worked in this job, and I had different bosses, but I always loved them. We were always like looking to go the same way. We were growing this group. We were really into building like relationships, working with our customers. And then my old boss retired, and everyone kept saying, well, why didn't you get that job? And I was kind of like, yeah, that's a good question, because I don't know why I didn't get that job. I should have got that job. And instead, they brought someone in from another department, who was much more transactional, much a micromanager, just a whole different mindset. And I didn't agree with a lot of what he did, but I thought I could make it work, because I figured, okay, he's one of these big movers. He'll be here for 2 years and he'll be gone. And then the next person. And, you know, it was just, it wasn't fun anymore. The job that, I used to love wasn't really, suddenly it was, I didn't like getting up in the morning. I really wasn't looking forward to it because of the way it had changed.
Yeah. Now you mentioned seeing your firing as an opportunity. How did you actually manage to shift your perspective during what many would consider a challenging time?
Yeah, that's a great question. Sometimes I ask myself that too. I think it was really just, it was the feeling I got when I at first I even looked at, okay, maybe I need even though I had that freeing feeling on the way home, I still said, oh, do I need another job? And I had a couple job interviews, and everything I looked at in the engineering field, I just kind of didn't feel right. Something was missing. And I was and I think what I went back to like back when I was younger, just graduating college. And I realized that, when I was in my teens and early 20s, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to do something important. And I realized that, for the last 30 years, well, I was doing good things, but I really wasn't doing anything that really was world changing or would make a difference. I was helping a company make money. I was, we were doing it in environmentally friendly ways and such, but it wasn't really what excited me. And that helped me feeling like, okay, maybe this is my chance to do something that really will make a difference, to really get out there and be the person I used to be when I was younger, and that I had basically put tamped down and hidden for the period while I was working in corporate roles.
Yeah, I noticed a lot, and I actually speak to a lot of women who have moved from the corporate world into their own businesses, and they're just doing their passion. And I think during the pause in 2020, a lot of people were discovering, even including myself, discovering my passions. Like I realized that I love cooking now. I realized that I enjoy doing outdoorsy stuff where I never had the opportunity to because of my corporate job, which, I still work there only one day a week though. But it's a
Yeah.
good job. I do massage therapy at a hotel.
Okay.
And so
That's a good.
I've been there 17 years. It's like family at that spa. I cannot see myself leaving. It's just my back is starting to hurt a little bit
Mm.
after, doing that. But I'm just enjoying life much more. And I'm noticing a lot of women, a lot of people actually, even men, are starting to do what they want to do, which makes me excited because that's what the world should be, is like, what's your passion? And then stick with it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great point that, COVID for me, COVID wasn't a shift because it's funny. I actually, I've worked for home for the past, had worked from home for the past 11 years. And
Wow.
for me, COVID, I was actually more in touch with people than before because suddenly they were putting all these meetings in. I'm like, well, I never had meetings before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think COVID really did let a lot of people have the time to think about what they really enjoyed and what really excited them. And, I had that time after I got fired, or even I was thinking about it before then. So I was only planning to work a couple more years. I had a son who was in college. I wanted to I figured I'd work till he graduated, and it didn't work out. So yeah, I do feel like it was an opportunity, and it got me thinking about what do I really love. And I know I've always loved speaking. I wanted to write a book and I never had time. I always knew someday I'm going to write a book when I have time, and you never have time. And suddenly I had time. I was like, okay, well, yes, I have to find some way to make money and I have time to write a book. So let's do that.
Totally. And now let's talk about your book. Can you actually share more about the core principles of your book, the Reinvention Mindset, and what inspired you to write it?
Okay, yeah, the core principles are really that you know, we all have inside of us everything we need to reinvent ourselves and live the life we desire. And we have so much more control than we think we do. And it's all about choice and choosing what you want to do. And once you make that choice, we all have the capability. And I was inspired I actually was at a 5K charity run, and the charity it was called the Phoenix Journey. And the woman who ran it, Dominique, had been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when she was in her 30s. And she had, I think there's 30 symptoms that you may have, and she had like 29 of them.
Mm.
And she was unable to, she was early 30s. She was in a wheelchair. She couldn't walk. She was in constant pain. And the doctors told her, this is probably going to be your life. And I mean, at that point, she wasn't sure she even wanted to go on. And she decided, through some vision, some dreams she had, and she decided she wasn't going to accept that. And she searched, holistic medicine, meditation, nutrition, pretty much everything she could think of, and tried everything to cure her symptoms. And today you would never know she was ever sick. I mean, she's vibrant. She's amazing. And when I heard her story, it just inspired me. And I started thinking about other people I knew. She ended up, after she cured herself, she ended up starting a nonprofit to help other people suffering from autoimmune diseases. And that was what the run was for. But I knew I met so many other people that turned tragedy into like a triumph. And they went from, not just overcoming what happened to them, but they did so much more. And I wanted to talk to these people and see what it was that enabled them. So I interviewed a number of people who did this and found out they all had a lot of things in common. And I thought about my own life and times I've overcome, including most recently being fired. And I have some of those traits too. So I kind of put it together as a plan so that, we don't have to wait until, someone pushes us off the cliff or until something terrible happens. If we're not living a fully satisfying, the life we desire, we have the ability to look at ourselves and choose, is this really what we want to do? And if not, we have the ability to change it.
Yes, and I think a lot of people are scared to get uncomfortable because they're so stuck in their comfort zone. I was just talking to somebody about this recently, and it's just going for it and just seeing what you're capable of doing because you'd be surprised. Like for me, for example, I went first time kayaking in the ocean. I'd never been really on a boat before, let alone by myself on there. And yeah, there were some waves, and I was a little woozy, and then we did a little trying to do some snorkeling, and I was trying to get to a cliff because there's cliff jumping, but the waves were hitting me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this normal? I didn't have a life jacket on because I can swim pretty well, but I'm like, maybe I should have put that life jacket on. But I'm like, you know what? I'm glad I've overcome this because now I know that, okay, maybe I shouldn't do it in the ocean. Maybe the lake would be more, much more suitable for me. But it's just still just trying it and see what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy, and then you'll know.
Yeah, yeah, we're so much more capable of things that we think we are. And I mean, the worst case is we don't do it really well, and then we learn from it. So, okay, it's not like really a failure, it's just a learn. I mean, if you try something and you don't like it, then okay, I didn't like that. But before you tried it, you didn't know that.
Exactly. It's like there's no failures, just only feedback or a learning opportunity. I always say failures, there's no
Mhm.
such thing. You're learning. I tell my
No, it's
children all the
learning. And
time.
yeah, and
Yes.
you just don't grow if you stay in your comfort zone because you never learn anything new. And
And
it's
it's
just
boring.
it is, there's boring, and there's so many opportunities, there's so many more possibilities out there that you can do whatever you want or be whoever you want. I truly believe that we can control our own reality, which is what
Totally.
I talked about in the TEDx talk, how we can actually, because we could change not only how we feel about ourselves, but we could change how other people see us, and then we change how they treat us, and that completely changes the whole situation.
I know as you start changing, you'll notice those people that were not so kind to you start dissolving out of your life. And then you're attracting more
Mhm.
like-minded people and they're coming into your life. And then you'll probably notice you're hanging out with more Loris now than
Yeah,
before.
the people I've met now since I started my own job, I mean, they're all amazing. They're all like they just do so much. They just try everything. And what's really amazing is how helpful they are. I mean, I never thought when I started my own business, I never realized how so many people that I barely knew. I mean, people that I meet on, LinkedIn or a networking meeting are willing to do so much to help me. And I hopefully I'm doing the same to help other people. But it's just such a community of people help each other because everyone wants to help everyone else succeed because they know, when we all succeed together, the rising tide lifts all the boats, and there's enough for everybody. We can all be successful, and it's not like there's competition, it's really more collaboration.
Oh, I love that. Definitely collaboration and community is very important. And I noticed a lot, like in the community with like-minded people, you just notice you're helping each other out, like you were saying. And it's just a beautiful thing. And then I think once people start seeing that, then it's like a ripple effect, and then the world changes. The world will change.
Yes, yeah, yeah, it really will change the world because, and that's what I found in corporate. There was much more competition
Oh yeah.
because everybody like there, there's one job or there's one promotion and it's just, you feel like it's just hard to really have a community when you're competing with someone, and when you're collaborating, when you help someone, they help someone, and they help someone, and it does change the world, and it just makes the world such a positive place. And I hate that when you watch, the news or something, you don't see that, because if you're out there and you're working with people and you're coaching people, or people are talking, and it is such a positive place. I mean, so I've met thousands of amazing people who are all incredibly happy and accomplished since I left my job and started this new business.
Yeah, well, let's start talking about when in you actually starting Reimagine U Strategies. What were the key steps you actually took to move from concept to reality, and what challenges did you actually face in this transition?
Yeah. I guess the biggest challenge was figuring out, what do I want to do. It's always
Yeah.
you always have to know what, and from what, from what you get to why. So actually, the process I coach now, and what I put in the book, is a process where, the first part is really discovering. So in moving to this, I really looked at myself and said, what do I really enjoy? Why do I want to have my own business? Because clearly you want to have your own business so you can make your own hours, so you can make money. Yes, it's a lot more than that. I wanted to have my own business because I realized I love to help people, and I like to be out there. I like talking to people. I like giving talks. I like interacting. That was always the best part of all my other jobs. So I said, okay, I would love to be, once I decided to write the book, I'm like, well, I have a story to tell. Maybe I'll become a speaker. I kind of started the business thinking I would just do talks and become a speaker. And then it's like, well, if I'm going to speak, maybe I could do training classes. And after looked at that, I realized I want to learn coaching, because I think I can go much deeper. And I think a lot of, what I've done goes back to the unconscious mind. And there's a lot of things that, about releasing what's holding you back. And also I took some coaching certifications. In the meantime, I started the business, and I had to figure out all the technology, building a website page, getting how to find potential clients, how to find. So it was a lot of that. And that was where I really needed help. And, look, lots of training classes, lots of coaching programs. One thing I never really had a coach when I was in corporate, and now I have like about 4 of them. So I think, once you become a coach, you realize how much you need a coach.
100%. Same. I have mentors and coaches, tons of them. And it's just great because you're learning so much. And then just passing on that knowledge to others it's very beneficial and helpful for sure. Now, you
Mhm.
talk about helping people overcoming roadblocks to live more fulfilled lives. Could you actually go ahead and give an example of a common roadblock and how your coaching actually addresses it?
Sure. A very common roadblock is, self-doubt and limiting beliefs. People, they want to do something, they know they would like to do it, but they don't think they're capable. So it's a little bit of an imposter syndrome, but even more, they have these limiting beliefs and self-doubts that stem from something that happened earlier in their life, an experience, or, for me, I had them from when I was younger. I don't know if I was bullied per se, but I was definitely made fun of because I was chubby and I was smart, and I had my name used to rhyme, and I had bad hair. So they used to call me Two Ton Tori because my name was Lori Tori,
Oh,
which is a
no.
horrible nickname when you're like 10
Yeah.
years old.
Right?
And I kind of ignored it, but I realized that, even when I started working and started my own business, that I realized I'm still thinking about, I'm caring about what people think about me. I'm thinking, am I not good enough? I'm thinking, do they not like me? And that was my limiting belief, that, people weren't going to like me. They were going to make fun of me. That I was going to be not popular, not, and I had to let it go. And that's what I help my clients do, is figure out what is holding them back, whether it's, limiting belief, and self-doubt is a big one. Fear is another one. And then I help them release it. I actually have, a process, you know, both a training class and then actually a one-on-one coaching breakthrough, where we work with both the training class works a lot with the conscious mind, on showing you why you think this way and what it is. And then in the breakthrough part, we actually work with the unconscious mind. And then by integrating the two together, the conscious mind figures out consciously, what are these issues? Why do I have them? Where do they come from? And then the unconscious mind, you actually let go and release all those things that are holding you back and change how your mind thinks, replace the things that are holding you back with new beliefs that are going to move you forward.
Yeah, I remember growing up and I always thought I was fat, ugly, not worthy. And I had so many limited beliefs because of the conditioning. Like school was harsh. Yes, I
Mhm.
got even made fun of too. And got
Yeah,
to a
and
point
kids are
where, yeah,
cruel.
aren't they? They're mean. I'm like, man, I'm thinking about my kids. Are they kind in school now or what's going on? But so far, so good. I don't know. And I'm making sure you're not the one being bullied. No, but they're not. They have kind hearts. They wouldn't. Now, given your expertise and experience in chemical engineering industry, how do you actually integrate your technical background into your coaching and speaking engagements?
Yeah, it's actually interesting because one of the things I do like to I work with women and men, but people a lot in a technical background, because you know, a lot of technical people are very logical. They think in scientific terms and really much more, one side of the brain. They don't think about things like how your language has power and, quantum energy shifts and quantum physics even though there's some science behind it. But what's really interesting is I've been able to integrate the two, because in some ways, they're very related. Like, I was teaching a class yesterday and we were talking about how we do a root cause analysis, and you go back to your childhood, and you figure out, when did you first start feeling this and where did it come from and what caused it? And you find kind of what the root cause is, what you didn't get, when you were younger, that's causing you to have these issues now. And one of the people in the class was an engineer, and he's like, oh, it's kind of like when we have a plant that has a problem and we have to go figure out what the root cause is. And I was like, exactly. So, a lot of the things we're doing, engineers and technical people did do these on equipment or on plants. They do root cause analysis. They do some of the different training, trying to figure out what the issue is. They do look at, all the different why these are happening, and they have a part where they ask like the 5 whys. So it's actually, not as different as it is. And I think part of it, because I was an engineer, and yet I do believe in, energy releases, holistic healing, that the law of attraction, and that we really do create our own reality. Coming from an engineer, it almost gives it more credibility and makes it more believable to those people. So I've integrated the two in a way that I think, if I believe it, well, I have a PhD in chemical engineering. So if I believe it, it must be true in some ways.
Yeah, and then also the dopamine and the serotonin, how to release that so we get
Right.
those
Yeah.
happy, happy chemicals coming out of our bodies.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there really is a lot of science in the non-scientific fields, I mean, it makes sense, just the neurological pathways that our brain creates when we're trying to think one way versus another. And the chemicals, I mean, definitely.
Yeah, no, I know you just finished doing a TEDx, but any other future initiatives that you're going to be doing or anything exciting happening?
Been speaking a lot of summits, a lot of podcasts. The book just came out. It's actually on Amazon. The ebook is on Amazon now, and then the paperback comes on Amazon June 1st. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm trying to, I'm thinking about maybe doing a book tour and talking at bookstores and libraries and universities and such. So that I'm really excited about
Oh, that
that.
sounds
And
fun.
then I want to do another TED Talk. I'm waiting for the video of this one because I want to see it. I want to, send that out everywhere. And then I really would like to do another one because it was such a great experience.
That's so awesome. And I'm so happy for you. Now, finally, what advice do you have for someone nearing a significant life milestone, and then someone maybe even turning 60 years old and who might be contemplating a major life change or reinvention?
Yeah, I guess the advice I would give someone is, really look at yourself. And if you find that, you're not happy, you're not successful in your soul. But I think a lot of people who are successful feel like they're successful on paper. If you look at them, oh, I have a great job, I have a good salary, I have a nice house, I have a good relationship, I have 2.5 kids, and you think like, oh, well, I should be happy. I have everything anyone could want. And they're not. And they feel like, okay, well, that's my problem. I should be happy. But it's not your problem. It's the fact that you're living what someone else thinks success is. You're not living what you think success is. And you can let go of that. You can let go of what other people think. You can let go of what you feel like you've been told. And you can really find out what it is what lights you up, what gets you excited, what makes you passionate. If you're passionate about your job, that's fantastic. Stay with your job, because there are people that want to do nothing else and they love their job. But if you do that, that's great, but make sure it's a choice. Don't do it just because you feel like it's what you're supposed to be. And I think everyone has the capability to do what they want, to be who they want, to create the reality they want. And you just need to trust and believe that it's going to happen. So, if you want to do something else and you feel like that's really going to be what makes you fulfilled and joyful. I mean, life's too short to not be joyful and to not try new opportunities. And you can do it. Whoever you are, you can do it. You might need a little help. Get a coach, take some training classes, do it slow if it makes you feel better. But yet you have the capability to do it. And you don't want to spend time living a life that's not making you happy, and the money will come. And I think, in surprising ways, maybe it's not a salary, but you will have what you need.
Exactly. And you'll realize you have an abundance all of a sudden because you're so
Yeah.
fulfilled.
Yeah. Living in abundance, you never know where it's going to come from, but you will have an abundance. And if you'll figure it out, because it's what's meant to be. I think everyone has everything they need to live the life they were meant to live. And, like I said, there's no mistakes in the past, and anything there's no regrets, because you were exactly where you needed to be at that time. Yet you need to be where you want to be at this time, and just go for it.
Yes, go for it. I love that. Now, where can our listeners go ahead and find you on social media, website?
Yes. Okay. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm trying to remember. I know if you look up Lori McDowell, you'll probably see my picture. I know on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Lori McDowell 5. And I don't remember what I am on LinkedIn, but I definitely, if you search for Lori McDowell, I come up. And then my website is Reimagine U, like the letter U, like university, so reimagineu.net. And my email is lmcdowell@reimagineu.net. And if you want to book a call with me and talk to me, you can. It's really easy. It's booklori, LORI.com. So if you just go to booklori.com, that should bring you to my calendar. I'd love to hear more.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Lori. Is there anything else that I didn't bring up that you would like to share? Or any last final words or thoughts?
Let's see, no, just like I said, you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. You have it in you. And if I can help, I'm happy to help. I have lots of programs for everything from, a $20 book, or my ebook's on sale for $2.99 till the end
Oh,
of June. So get it now.
Yes.
But I can help, programs for everything from a $20 or a $2.99 book up to an annual program. And I'd love to. And if I can't help, I know people that would. So if you're thinking about changing your life, or that you just want to find out how to reinvent yourself, please contact me. I'd love to have a conversation and see how I can help you.
And that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on my show today. It's been such a wonderful
Thank,
conversation.
well, thank you, Gina. It's been really fun. I'm happy to be here. And I love your podcast. The episodes I listen to are really great. So,
Oh, yay. Well, this will be another one of the great ones as well. Thank you so much, Lori.